Good evening and welcome to Speedway Town Council meeting. I call the order for May 13th, 2019 meeting to order at 7 p.m. My name is Fishburn. I'm President of Speedway Town Council. In attendance this evening, to my right, I have Councilor David Lindsay.
Good evening.
I have Councilor Jason Delisle.
Good evening.
Councilor Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
Town Manager Jacob Delisle. I totally messed that one up. Sorry.
Good evening.
Whoever you are. Treasurer Monty Combs. And then representing our legal counsel is Mitch Ray.
Good evening.
Right, everyone in attendance would please stand. We'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the minutes, the approval for the minutes of the April 8th, 2019 meeting. Are there any adjustments on those minutes?
No.
Seeing none, those have been approved. Move on to Resolution 2019-5. This is a resolution approval retirement for our K-9 officer, Tom.
First of all, I've always been told never compete with kids or dogs. So I have brought a guest speaker tonight to take care of that. Tom's had a distinguished career, and he's been an invaluable member of the department. Pretty well known in this town. I was going to let him tell you, but as they drive around, people wave at "Hi, Tom." They have no idea who Matt is. Actually, sometimes I think you let Tom drive, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll keep this short, but, we thought it was an opportunity to recognize Tom, and again, he's a pretty well-known fellow in this town, and he's going to have a nice home thanks to this resolution. And with that, I'll let Matt, unless Tom wants to talk.
He's not feeling chatty today. So, Klutz. So yeah, first I want to thank the council. I want to thank our police commissioners, Chief Campbell, all the members of the Speedway Police Department, as well as the citizens of Speedway. They've always been very supportive and very appreciative of Tom and I. So yeah, 6.5 years of service. Unfortunately had some medical issues, have to retire him, but he's still going at it. He came in here and was circling around and wants to be petted. He lunges at people at first, and they think, oh, no. It's like, no, he's not going to bite you. He wants a pat on his head. So that's what he has to look forward to at home. My wife's already kind of fattened him up a little bit. He gets belly scratches, a Kong. He's got a little foo-foo bed now he lays in. So that sounds like a pretty good retirement to me. So, again, I want to thank everybody. And I'm sure I'll get him in the police car, drive him around a little bit so he still feels like a police dog. But, yeah, he's going to be living the good life. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Matt, thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Yep.
So are we getting a new dog?
Yes, we have a new one. He's about 2 weeks in already. Ruck. We'll probably be bringing him in sometime soon just to introduce him. And he's about 20 pounds lighter, so he's a little easier to manage than this fella. But, yeah, we'll be bringing him in and showing him off.
So will you have him too then, Matt?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've got him. And with retiring Tom, he's going to be living with me and my family. So he'll get he's been in the house a lot more than he was when he was active. He's kind of calmed down. So he's
We tried to get somebody to get a bite suit, but you probably probably wouldn't.
Nobody takes up the offer on that. Dave?
TV.
No? Pass?
I'm good. Thanks.
I don't blame you.
You've
Appreciate
seen
the
what
offer.
they do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame you.
Been there, done that. I'm good.
Any other questions or anything?
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you for stopping by. See you, Tom.
Next is the, we have a resolution.
Yes. Madam President, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2019-05. Second.
A first and a second for 2019-5. Take public comments at this time. Seeing no public comments, any questions from councilors? Hearing no questions, we'll take a vote. Resolution 2019-5. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Approved 4-0. Next is a request for the alley closure for Wilcox event. This is an alley between 15th and 16th Street from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday, May the 17th.
Yeah, I can take that, Madam President. So we had the request coming from Wilcox. They host an event at their frontage area that they have along Main Street on the north side of Main Street. I think every year. This year they're having an event on May 17th, and to make sure that they don't have folks kind of gathering on the sidewalk area right along Main Street. It is Fast Friday, so it'll be a little bit busier on Main Street. They're going to do kind of some activities and things to draw people into the alley, so they just requested to have it closed off from 10 to 6 o'clock that day, and to do so would request council approval. They have had the conversations with their neighbors to make sure they were okay with it, as well as public safety.
President Fisher, I move that we approve the request for the alley closure for Wilcox event, actually street closure, correct?
Is it the
Alley
street
closure.
or
It is,
the?
Sorry, alley
the alley closure. The alley closure for Wilcox event as presented.
Second.
I have a first and a second for the request of alley closure for Wilcox event. Take public comments at this time. Seeing no public comments, any questions from councilors? Hearing no questions, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving the alley closure for between 15th and 16th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on May 17th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved 4-0. Next is the request for another alley closure. This is for the Old Speedway event, and this is between 14th and 15th Street from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday, June 1st.
Hi.
Hey, Beth.
The Old Speedway neighborhood will be celebrating 20 years, and we're having our annual picnic behind Barbecue and Bourbon. Barbecue and Bourbon wanted to have two events at the same time, so they're having their car show and their Spamorama event across the street, and we want to have our picnic in the alley directly behind Barbecue and Bourbon. We didn't want to go across the street because then we'd have to carry all the tables and chairs and the food and everything, so we wanted to be, and I gave you a map of where we would like the closure to be, and you're all invited to join us. So June 1st, behind Barbecue and Bourbon, we need to close half the alley.
I move that we approve the alley closure for the Old Speedway City Neighborhood Association.
Second?
I have a first and a second. Any public comments at this time? Seeing no public comments, any other questions for Bev from councilors?
Thank you.
Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the alley closure for between 14th and 15th, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday, June 1st, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, approved 4-0. Next is Resolution 2019-6. This is the approval on Economic Development Strategic Plan.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Zog, and I'm with Plaka & Associates, and I was honored to facilitate the strategic plan for the Town of Speedway. Before you tonight, we do have just a brief presentation that highlights everything related to the strategic plan. So, before you, I want to talk a little bit about the scope and the process. So back in December, we established a steering committee made up of town staff, we had council, and we have RDC members. We then moved into the quantitative analysis piece. And I want to talk a little bit about that because there's a lot of data in the strategic plan, and it's very easy to get caught in that data. A couple notes, though, that I want you to remember is that the data is for two zip codes, 46222 and 46224. And so when you look at some of the information, it might look like it's incorrect, but really we're looking at a bigger scope than just the town limit. So please keep that in mind when you're reading the strategic plan. But with that analysis, we did an evaluation of the existing conditions. We looked at industry and information, demographics, workforce, and even housing. We did a housing assessment. Then we looked at land use. We looked at corridors, gateways into the town, parks and trails, and based on information on the quantitative side, as well as focus groups and a survey, a fantastic survey, actually. The respondents were over 800 people that responded to the survey. We conducted a SWOT assessment. Based on all of that, we then moved into the economic opportunities, where we looked at the gaps and opportunities in industry, retail, workforce, and housing again. And then that really built into the overall vision and strategies. So on the next slide, you'll see that we have these big ideas that came out of all of the analysis. And these big ideas really, if you think of them as the overarching umbrella, that serve as drivers for the specific strategies that are much more practical and realistic. I'll say more tactical moving forward. So you have the redevelopment of the Speedway Shopping Center, something that we heard over and over again from the community as a main target for economic development. We recommended an autonomous vehicle testing site. This aligns with work that your current industry partners are already doing. We recommended the creation of an innovation district specific to automotive and motorsports. We looked at the redevelopment of the town center, which again, you're already doing. And then targeted areas of redevelopment along High School Road and Lyndhurst Drive. So, in addition to that, here's a list, I think on the next two slides, that are strategies and specific recommendations in the plan. There are a lot, so it could look a little overwhelming, but what I did here, and based on the conversations with the steering committee, we have the action items listed in immediate priorities, medium priorities, and long-term. Even on the immediate action list, the list is still a little bit long, so that I just want to highlight in the action items that are bolded are the top 5, I think actually there are 6, that we recommended and in discussions with the steering committee agreed upon as being the top items to focus on over the next 6 to 12 months. First is, okay, you hired a communications director. You can check that off the list. One was strengthening new and existing partnerships with valuable partners. I know some of this is already occurring. I think especially when you're talking about in any type of community, the changes in administration, having those partnerships to outlast the changes in administration is really important. We, on 4D at the bottom, it talks about the new construction of higher density and low maintenance housing. The housing, folks really wanted more diversity and more options, and so that was a big highlight in the plan. On the next page, we talked about the connectivity of completing the trail system, and well, as we were talking about that, you all were awarded the funding, so congratulations. So I think that that action item specifically will be something that will be implemented sooner rather than later. We did talk about looking again at additional redevelopment options for the Speedway Shopping Center. And the last is just formalizing a business retention expansion program in connections with your existing industry base. The industry leaders that were present during the focus groups talked about having a great relationship with town staff. We wanted to formalize some of that work and make it a little more emphasized. So next steps for us, if you are to approve the plan tonight. Again, we launched in December, we held focus groups, we did the online survey, we did hold a community open house where they provided feedback on the preliminary recommendations. We presented to RDC. I'm here tonight. Next, if we were to approve this evening, the plan will be submitted to OSCA. And I guess another note, Jacob, I know you might have some additional comments regarding the OSCA relationship, but a lot of the information in the report was conducted because of the OSCA standards. And so know that some of it may not be as quite applicable or as much of a priority than in a regular strategic plan, but in order to meet their standards, we wanted to make sure we were checking all the boxes. If they are to approve, if OSCA approves the report, then we'll come back in August for the final approval, we'll call it. So any additional comments from you all?
Just a couple quick ones. As Courtney just said, a lot of this is dictated through the grant we received from OSCA, so there is information in there that's necessary, but not necessarily as relevant as what we want to look. But this was also a very quick process to meet the timelines of that OSCA grant. This is a 160-some page strategic plan, so I assume you all read it ahead of the meeting. So, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of data. It's a lot of information. It's going to take us a lot of work to implement a lot of this, but it's also a living, breathing document that will change. I mean, the next resolution on your agenda is going to transform 10th Street a little bit, which needs to be addressed. So that will adapt into the strategic plan. So, projects will get done, projects will come off, priorities will change over the time. But this is really our starting point to the next phase of redevelopment throughout the town of Speedway, building on the successes that were already done through the first strategic plan with Main Street and everything that came with it. So we're excited about this process. It was a lot of process that was kind of condensed into a very short timeline. You'd typically have a little bit longer timeline, but we were very pleased with the community feedback and input that we received.
I'll also add, in addition to the full report, there is an action matrix which outlines all of the specific action items and strategies and list who is the main person or organization in charge, who are the necessary partners, is there funding that needs to be gathered and addressed to implement those action items, what's the timeline for that. So it really does act as a tool and a living document. Depending on how things change and the market changes, the priority levels will change and the partners will change. So that also is a part of the strategic plan.
I guess I'd like to make a comment. I think that it's, it's been a number of years since we did our original master plan, what was Area 1, and now it's a combined area. But, at the time, there was a lot of concern by residents. There was a lot of input, a lot of involvement of residents, and it sounds like we had a large number of residents and business people that were involved in this as well. But it wasn't as concerning to a lot of residents, and I think that speaks well to the successes we've had in implementing some of the original plan, maybe not implementing certain parts of the original plan, and I'm excited that we're just continuing to move this down the field.
Great, I would agree. Especially on the survey responses, for such a smaller community to have over 800 people respond is tremendous, something that really I haven't seen before. So it speaks well to the community.
With that, I'll make a resolution, or make a recommendation that we approve Resolution 2019-6 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second for Resolution 2019-6. We'll take public comments at this time. Seeing no public comments, any other questions or comments from the councilors? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2019-6 say aye.
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 Opposed? Approved 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next is Resolution 2019-7, and this here's a resolution for the Town of Speedway, Indiana, approving the statement of benefits for real and personal property tax abatement for a property located within the Town of Speedway. And Tim?
Good evening. Earlier this year, Town Manager Jacob, or Jason Blaisdell, met with Allison Transmission confidentially and heard about a long-term vision of what they'd like to do. They were founded in Speedway over 103 years ago. They'd love to keep their campus and staff together here in Speedway, but they're restricted with the land that they have and not a lot of area to grow. So they let us know that vision, let us know they were looking at other options as well. And then last month, we were pleased that we were able to present a project for the environmental testing facility, $34.5 million project that was going to happen on their campus in Speedway, continuing to grow here in the town they were founded. A little bit of deja vu here because we're back on phase 2 of this project that they have decided to move forward here in Speedway as well. We're ecstatic that they're continuing to invest. This next project is an innovation and research center. It's going to be the showcase for the company. It's a 95,000 square foot technical and innovation center. This is a $5 million personal property investment and a $34 million real property investment project. So totaling between the two projects is over $70 million. We're very excited. This will be another 100 positions to go along with the 193 that they committed to the last month. So almost 300 new jobs as well over the course of both projects. Focus a little more on the phase 2. So this project is looking to go west of Castle Road on what's their main campus is 1 Allison Way. This technically is 5100 West 10th Street. I think they look at it as the entire campus there, which is fine on our end. But the actual physical address is where their testing facility is, their test track, if you will, on the other side of Castle. So everybody has an idea what they're looking at. Again, this is a technical innovation center. I think this is going to be a marketing showpiece for their products, be able to bring clients and potential clients in. A lot of the equipment will be augmented virtual reality simulators, things that people can come in and see the latest technology and everything they're working on, as well as kind of understand their current products well. So a really big, this will be a showcase for clients and partners around the world. They are requesting 10-year real and personal property tax abatements similar to the previous project, traditional scale. This will be going through the entire process through the Metropolitan Planning Commission. We do have representatives from Indianapolis here tonight, as well as representatives from the company. But again, this is a huge investment in our community. We're excited about it. It will truly transform that section of the 10th Street corridor, and I think it's really positive for the community. Be happy to answer any additional questions. If I don't know the answer, I'd be happy to find somebody behind me that would. So.
I don't have a question. I just have a quick comment that really excited to see the investment, not only phase 1, but phase 2 as well. Allison's making in Speedway. And looking forward to seeing the building take shape. So really excited.
That's a really good note too. This did move, this phase two, did move rather quickly. They had a meeting just a week ago or so, and gave the green light to move this forward. So they want to get it under construction as soon as possible and hopefully be operational, I believe, by the end of 2021. So a lot of work to be done in that interim, and we're excited to get it moving.
I'd like to concur with Jason's comments. I think that I see Melissa Sauer from Allison sitting in the audience this evening. She's one of the executive leaders of Allison, has been a proponent of our town since she grew up here. And she's a true friend of the town, and so is her employer, Allison. They're an absolute partner. We made some comments earlier about our original master plan, and they were an integral part of that, as well as some of the other industrial and large corporations in our town. And without them, we wouldn't have been able to achieve the things we have over the years. And this is exactly why we continue to focus in trying to attract companies and trying to get those that are here to continue to invest. And they're going to add 300 jobs between the two projects. We had another large stakeholder in town invest $100 million a few years ago. This is $70 million. This is huge. Between the two projects, it's a huge number, but more importantly, just a continued vote by them to stay in our community and build in our community. So thank you to Allison.
Absolutely.
Madam President, I make a motion we approve Resolution 2019-07 as presented this evening.
Second.
We have a first and a second for Resolution 2019-7. We'll take public comments at this time. Seeing no public comments, any other questions or comments from councilors?
Nothing more to add, but I just concur with what they said, and definitely, I've got a soft spot for Allison's in my heart because that's where my dad retired from. So thank you for investing in town and the new jobs and for being here tonight.
Thank you. Strong commitment. Thank you. So at this time, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2019-7, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Approved 4-0. Next is the approval of task order number 2 with American Structure Point.
Thank you, Madam President. So as is typical during the day, Tim gets to talk about shiny new buildings and virtual reality, and I get to talk about sewer plants. But it's all important, I'm here to tell you. So this is a task order with American Construction Point. Where sewage enters the plant, and I hope if you're watching this on replay, you're sitting down and having your lunch and listening to this. So where raw sewage enters the plant, there's an initial filtration process that gets kind of garbage, just stuff that gets in the sewer lines out of it. That machine, that filter has become unreliable. You'll recall that we've applied a couple of times for grants to, in part, replace this part of the plant, and it is a critical component, and we have needed to replace it because it breaks down and it's frankly just not as effective. So we are engineering a solution for this. We're doing it under our we're doing it under a task order with Structure Point. We have a master services agreement. The amount is a little bit higher than what we would approve administratively, so that's why we're bringing it to a public approval and council approval. But this is for the engineering solution. Assuming all goes well, we hope to have bids for the actual implementation for your approval at the next meeting. And so with that, we'd ask for your approval.
President Fisher, I move to approve task order number 2 with American Construction Point as presented.
Second.
I have a first and a second for the approval for task order number 2. At this time, we'll take public comments. Seeing none, any other questions or comments from councilors? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving task order number 2 with American Structure Point, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved 4-0. Next is the approval for the notice of an award with UHQ Construction.
Thank you, Madam President. So this is approval. It's pretty self-explanatory. New roof for the groundwater treatment plant. So the surface water plant, if you've been down there, is the larger building. The groundwater treatment plant is a little bit smaller and holds some filtration. So this is to replace that roof per state statute and internal guidelines. We requested 3 quotes. One did not submit. 2 of them did, and we are recommending approval of the low bid for this project.
Gentlemen?
Madam President, I make a motion that we accept the bid from UHQ Construction for the new roof at the water treatment plant.
Second.
I have a first and a second for the approval of notice of awards for UHQ. I will take public comments at this time. Seeing none, any other questions or comments from councilors?
Jacob, you may not. Jacob, Jason, whichever.
Yeah, whatever. Hi.
Yeah. You may not know this question, but how long has that roof that we have now been there, and do you know how long this will last? How long it's projected to last?
I want to say it's over 15 years old, and we've just had some more patching and service that we've wanted to. I don't know how long this one is expected to last, or if there's a guarantee on it. There's usually some type of guarantee, but I can get back to you on how long. At least 15 years, but yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hearing no other questions, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving the award for UHQ Construction, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Approved 4-0. Next is the approval of claims and utility adjustments. Monty?
Thank you. I've submitted to the council the claims for a period of April the 6th through May the 10th. A number of pages for you, as you can see, and any questions you have, I'll try to answer, and if you could approve them, I'd appreciate it very much.
Madam President, I move that we approve the claims as presented.
Second.
I have a first and a second for the claims presented to us by Clerk Treasurer. Public comments at this time? Seeing none, any questions or comments from councilors? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving the claims presented, say aye.
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 Opposed? Claims approved 4-0. Adjustments?
Utility adjustments, you have those as well, same period of time, April the 6th through May the 10th, totaling about $3,537.09, and would appreciate your approval on that as well. 3 actually large issues for the 3,700. So.
Make a motion that we approve the utility adjustments from April 6th to May 10th.
Second?
I have a first and a second for the approval of the adjustments. Public comments at this time? Seeing none, any comments or questions from counselors?
Just a quick comment. Monty, I appreciate the work you do. Previous to your being in the role, we had pages and pages of adjustments and problems, and these issues were mechanical or some other issues not caused by your office. I just want to thank you for the work you do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We will take a vote then for the utility adjustments. All those in favor of approving the utility adjustments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved 4-0. Anything else, Monty?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll do reports now from department heads, and we'll start with Tim.
All right, I'm back. In case you missed it earlier, there's a $39 million investment by Allison Transmission. No, I'm just kidding. It's great to be able to come up here and have these kind of announcements and just progress on a lot of projects. It's been a very busy year. So a couple quick updates. Councilor Rakes and I were able to attend the ribbon cutting of the courtyard, which is now open, Courtyard by Marriott. They're doing very well right out of the box, over 70% occupancy rates, which is fantastic. And several local businesses using the rental space. They have a nice conference space there that's set up for businesses and training. So it's nice to hear that people are using it and there's some demand for that. Another note, the parking lot at 11th and Main behind the War Memorial, the old IPL substation lot, has been paved. And I believe striped. They're coming back to put in the parking stops, and then we'll have to redo the concrete entrance, but that lot is very close to being completed, adding 16 or 17 spots in that block next to Charlie Brown's across from Sarah Fisher Indoor Karting. So that's exciting to have that done. We look forward to getting the rest of that project completed and up to par on Main Street. We are anticipating an approval letter this week for the environmental cleanup of the 1300 block finally. It seems we've heard from IDEM that they don't have any issues and they should be giving us a letter this week. It is tentatively scheduled to start that environmental cleanup finally on June 10th, shortly after race time. So we're excited to see that phase happen and continue to work on the 1300 block. Then also in the same realm, 2500 High School Road development is moving along nicely. A ton of interest in the site, which is great. You might see some realtor signs go up just to see what kind of other interest we get. But in general, leasing and just conversations with tenants are going really well. We still anticipate closing with the developer in July, and hopefully pushing dirt late summer, early fall. So we're excited about that, and that's all I have right now.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
War Memorial parking. Are there any restrictions on those parking?
They're public parking spots for anybody to use. We do allow the War Memorial to park it during race times to try and raise a little bit of funding for the memorial for upkeep and different things there.
Tim, I have a question for you on the development out there where Chicago Pizza, Marriott, all that. So is the developer responsible for the streets and everything within that area?
Yes, so those are private roads and private sidewalks. We did not take those over in the transition.
Are they looking at doing any stop signs in there or anything? I think that's going to be a big issue.
I agree with you. There's a couple spots that definitely are missing signage, so we will be talking to the developer about that and see if we can't add a few signs out there.
Okay.
I agree. I know exactly what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I would agree.
Yeah. And then are they done? Or is there still one more outlet?
There's still one more outlot. It has been sold, and that new owner is contemplating which direction they want to go with that site. So we still don't have an exact answer as to what they're going to put there, but the last parcel has been sold.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Police Chief Jim Campbell.
First of all, I want to thank you again for the resolution for Tom. it's unfortunate that, the health problem that he has, but I think he'll have a good home with Matt. So make up for the 6 years he spent on the road. The Grand Prix, I took notes. Number 1, rain and cold. Number 2, the major race was at 3:30. It was a long day. 3, there was a light crowd. And 4, it really was a good race at the end. I mean, to see race cars driving in the rain and throwing rooster tails, and, the ending was a, pretty close ending. You have to remember one thing. We look at this from a different perspective. We made 0 arrests.
Wow.
The crowd was, well-behaved, and, for our line of work, it's still coordinating, whether it's local, state, or federal agencies, the fire department and the medical folks. We didn't have near the medical issues, which are usually pretty weather dependent anyway, but, we considered it a very successful race. So, and now we go back for Qual Week starting next week. But the other side note, Shred It made $8,368.25, which was a pretty good, people, we opened, I think at 10. By 9 o'clock, people were already lining up out on Lyndhurst. But it is very successful. It goes to Crime Stoppers, and that's a very positive thing for us and the community. So that's it.
Any questions? Thanks, Chief. Next is Fire Chief Bob Fishburn.
Good evening. Want to echo what Jim said about the event. Also wanted to highlight something that we did through our Pub Ed division. Chief Hartman, who heads up all of that, last Friday on Main Street, all of Speedway schools brings their kindergartners down, both Wheeler, Newby, Fisher, and Allison. And they have different stations that they go to. They tour Delara, they go to Big Woods, and then we have our trailer set up and we split them into 2 groups. And it's just really neat to be a part of that. I personally go down and enjoy doing that because I get to talk to some of the teachers and some of the parents that are chaperoning, and it's just a really good event that we will continue to do. And wanted to let you know that we recently were contacted by Wayne Township. Because the Town of Speedway falls in Wayne Township, we're actually going to try to apply for a regional grant. We don't know what that's going to entail yet, but we're in the early stages of doing a regional AFG grant. We were awarded an individual AFG grant a year ago, which helped pay for the radios, and the regional grants sometimes can be a little more easy to navigate because we're able to pull, statistics and resources together. And with us having the events we have here, it helps those regional grants. So it's a benefit for both. They're a bigger department, but we have some of the things that will allow us to maybe get another grant for equipment and save the town on money. And then other than that, just, the day-to-day operations and continuing to get ready for the rest of the month. So if you don't have any questions, that's all.
Thanks, Chief. Public Works is not here this evening, so we'll do Parks and Rec. Tammy?
Good evening. First of all, I want to start off, next Monday is our Parks Board meeting, and I'd like to invite any interested citizens to come out. We're going to be discussing the Federal Land and Water Conservation Fund grant program that we're going to be applying for. So we would love to have some public support and comments at our meeting. It's Monday, May 20th in the Speedway Annex professional offices and at 6 p.m. Also, let's see, May 30th, we're real excited. We're going to have Shakespeare in the Park at Meadowood Park starting at 6 p.m. The Indianapolis Shakespeare Company will be performing As You Like It. So we invite everyone to come out to that free event. It should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of excitement about it. We also have our concerts coming up in June, each Thursday in June, as well as July 11th and 18th. And I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors we have so far, the Speedway Lions Club, VFW, Frank T. Strayer, Post 1587, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Stronger with Sarah. We also have commitments from a couple of others we just haven't received yet. I just came from our final swim evaluations for our free swim lessons this summer, so I got another probably 15 to 20 kids signed up, so we're at about 110 kids for the free swim lessons, so we're excited about that. All of our summer camps are available for people to register. They can go to the town website and click on online registration to do that. We're also offering some adult classes this summer. In the month of June, Mondays and Thursdays, we'll have some lap swimming, and we'll also have some swim lessons. If there's some adults that want to learn to swim or improve on some strokes, we're going to be offering that as well. And if anybody's interested in taking a lifeguard certification course, we're going to offer that the first week of June. And something we're real excited about this summer in July, we finally found a date, Tuesday, July 9th. The Parks is partnering with the Speedway Fire Department to offer a youth firefighter for a day camp. It's going to be from 9:30 to 2:30, and lunch will be provided. And it will be run by the firefighters from Speedway, and we're real excited about the different things they're going to have the youth do. It'll be open to kids going into 5th through 8th grade. And let's see, I think that is all I have today.
Any questions? Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you.
Next is a report from Town Manager Jacob.
Thank you, Madam President. So yes, Wendell had some technical travel difficulties over the weekend and unfortunately wasn't able to join us this evening, but regrets not being able to be here. I'll cover some of what he wanted to talk about. I think he just left me to deliver the rough news. I think he was strategic, but it's good news. But we are going to have we're going to have a very active and busy road construction season this summer. Starting June 1st, the city of Indianapolis is going to be repaving Crawfordsville Road and 16th Street. That's going to be a major project. And then our local projects that we won the state grant for throughout the neighborhoods and the sidewalks, that work's going to begin that same week as well. We anticipate starting on June 3rd. So we're as we typically do, we're kind of waiting and holding up until the race, but then after that we're gonna let it all loose. So it will be active, as I like to say. And on top of that, the Dandy Trail Bridge project, that bridge has been closed. So that is creating a little more traffic in town. That project won't be completed until October. So all of that is to say it's great. We're investing in our infrastructure long term. These are smart things to do. Everyone will like the finished products, but please be patient as you're driving around town. Understand that it's just temporary, and we'll have the road projects done, and it'll be better long term. So appreciate everyone's patience as we go through that. And then other than that, have a great month of May, and do what we always do. I think we're a fantastic host for the race and all the fans that come in, and I appreciate all the residents that are a part of that and that whole process. So thank you, and have a good May.
That's a good question of Jacob. So you mentioned 16th and Crawfordsville will be repaved. I think that's the area east of the roundabout, 16th Street east of the roundabout.
Correct.
We have some needs for at least some pavement repair on 16th Street, kind of west of Auburn towards Lyndhurst. 16th and Cunningham and Lyndhurst, those roads are supposed to be maintained by the county, city county, not us, but we have some repairs that really need to be made there. Could you maybe just check into that with Wendell to see if that...
Yeah, and we do, as far as like lighter maintenance, we do share some responsibility with the city and how we maintain some of that. Of course, that's not always perfectly defined as far as what's minor and what's major work, but we can take a look at some of that and and get those repairs
Yeah,
done.
we could talk it offline a little bit, but when the road was repaved a number of years ago, there were some stretches that were 4 to 6 feet wide in certain lanes for 10 to 20, 30, 40 yards that have never really been quite the same. And now that they're several years down the road, if you're on that road, it's pretty significant. So I know we're not getting anything done before the race, but it'd be nice to just get some attention from the city.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jacob? Okay. Next, reports from counselors. We'll start with David Lindsay.
I'd just like to congratulate, I think she's already left, Bev and the Trails for their award that they received, the grant to extend the trails. I know I'm going to miss somebody, but Bev, Frank Merritt, and Allison Duncan, I think, were pretty involved in that. I'd like to thank them for their work. The governor was in town to present that a couple weeks ago, and just congratulations to them for a job well done. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dave. Next, Jason Delisle.
Nothing for me tonight.
Counselor Gary Riggs.
Yeah, real quick, I would echo what Dave said. I think it's $4.8 million. That's a lot of money, and it's something we've been going after for a long time. And again, I'll just repeat what I said earlier. The investment we've been making all these years is now coming back towards us in great ways. Just want to remind the public that to be as hospitable as we can in the month of May. We have a million or so visitors, and they're important to our economy as well, so do what they can. And in addition to that, just look out for our public safety employees and our public works employees. It's a long month for them. Anything we can do to just be kind and encouraging them would also be good. So that's it. Thank you.
Last report is myself, and I just wanted to add to sort of Jacob's report. I did talk with Wendell in regards to the traffic there at 465 and Crawfordsville Road and how it really gets backed up, and a lot of that is just because of the bridge being out on Dandy Trail. So a lot of that traffic is being diverted to High School Road and to go south on High School Road. So I think a lot of us will just have to be patient. My concern was obviously with being busy in the month of May and additional traffic with guests to our town and stuff, that's going to be pretty hectic out there. So he did have the state check again, just the timing of the lights and everything, and I think that they've done their best on what they can do for that area. So just be patient in that area, and we'll see that until probably November, supposedly, is when that bridge is supposed to be done. So nothing we can really do about that. So other than that, just a safe May. I'm looking at our fire chief and police chief, and you guys look tired already. So you still have the next 2 weeks very busy. So hope you guys are getting some rest and safe May for you and your crew. So with that said, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:49.